For decades, Toys R Us wasn't just a store. It was magic, a place where children ran through wide aisles with shining eyes, and parents found a moment of peace watching their kids experience pure happiness. But behind the colorful shelves and cheerful mascot, Geoffrey the giraffe, lay a dramatic business story, one filled with ambition, innovation, mistakes, and a surprising downfall that stunned the world. Today, we explore the emotional rise and fall of Toys R Us, a company that once ruled global toy retail, only to collapse under the weight of its own decisions. The story of Toys R Us began in 1948 in Washington, D.C. Its founder, Charles Lazarus, was just a young man returning from World War II. The world he came back to was changing fast. Families were growing, babies were being born at record rates, and Lazarus had one simple idea: people will always buy baby supplies. So he opened a small store called Children's Bargain Town. At first, he sold cribs and baby furniture, but something interesting happened. Parents kept coming back, not for new beds or dresses, but because their kids wanted toys, and those kids wanted new toys again and again. Lazarus realized something important: furniture is bought once, but toys keep families coming back. And so, in 1957, the first official Toys R Us store opened, a self-service, supermarket-style toy store, inspired by the way grocery stores were organized. Bright aisles, endless shelves, and millions of possibilities for little hands. It was new, it was bold, and it was exactly what families needed. In the early years, Toys R Us struggled with supply issues. Manufacturers didn't take the new store format seriously. Many believed toys were a seasonal business. But Lazarus had a different vision. He wanted Toys R Us to sell toys all year long, not just during holidays. To convince suppliers, he bought toys in massive quantities, far more than any competitor. This allowed him to negotiate lower prices and pass the savings on to customers. Slowly, parents started noticing something special. Toys were cheaper at Toys R Us, and there were more of them. By the 1970s, Toys R Us became the dominant force in toy retail. It wasn't just a store anymore, it was the center of childhood. The 1980s and 1990s were the golden age of Toys R Us. The brand expanded across the United States and around the world. Kids memorized the jingle, "I don't want to grow up, I'm a Toys R Us kid." Geoffrey the giraffe became a cultural icon. The stores were massive, sometimes more than 40,000 square feet. A child could lose themselves in endless aisles filled with action figures, dolls, video games, bicycles, puzzles, and anything their imagination could dream of. During this era, Toys R Us became the world's largest toy retailer. Revenue reached billions. The company opened stores in Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. It introduced Babies R Us. Capturing the baby product market, it became the first stop for holiday shoppers, especially during the booming 1990s. It was a retail empire, a symbol of joy, a place many kids grew up in. But success came at a cost, and no one saw what was coming next. By the late 1990s and early 2000s, the world of retail began to shift. Walmart and Target were growing rapidly, offering toys at even lower prices. Meanwhile, a quiet storm called Amazon was starting to reshape shopping habits forever. Toys R Us signed a major deal with Amazon in 2000, becoming the exclusive seller of toys on Amazon's website. At first, this looked like a brilliant move, but the relationship quickly turned sour. Amazon began allowing other toy sellers on its platform, and Toys R Us sued for breach of contract. While the lawsuit dragged on, the company failed to build its own strong online store. The world was moving online. Toys R Us was moving slowly. And then came the worst decision of all: massive debt. In 2005, private equity firms bought Toys R Us in a leveraged buyout worth $6.6 billion. The company was buried under huge debt, forced to pay more than $400 million every year in interest alone. This debt became the chain around the company's neck, one it would never break free from. As online shopping exploded, Toys R Us struggled to keep up. Stores became outdated. Prices were no longer the cheapest. Target, Walmart, and Amazon swallowed the toy market. With the heavy debt, the company could not invest in modernizing stores, improving its website, or competing with online giants. Then came the final blow. In 2017, Toys R Us filed for bankruptcy. By 2018, the company announced it would close all 735 US stores, for millions. It was heartbreaking, Parents who grew up with Toys R Us watched it disappear in front of their children. The once mighty empire of toys had fallen. After the collapse, thousands of employees lost their jobs. Charles Lazarus, the founder, passed away in 2018, just days after the company announced it was shutting down stores. He did not live to see any attempt at revival. But the story wasn't over. A company called True Kids Inc. bought the brand in 2019 and tried reopening. A few small stores in the US, they failed quickly. Today, the Toys R Us brand is owned by WHP Global, which has opened shop-in-shop locations inside Macy's stores. The name still exists, but the magic of the old giant is gone. The fall of Toys R Us teaches us something important. Even giants can fall if they stop innovating. Even beloved brands can disappear if they don't evolve. But Toys R Us left a legacy that cannot be erased. It shaped childhood memories. It created moments of joy for millions of families. And it changed the toy industry forever. Toys R Us may be gone, but its story remains a reminder that success is never permanent, and innovation never sleeps.